We are
Woohoo!
live.
Praise the Omnissiah.
Teacher Mikey, please introduce us.
Okay, so welcome once again to another evening of Faction Focus here at the Dragon Forge After Dark, featuring myself, the Tabletop Traveler, Mikey Cuento, and two people you've never met before. So I'm introducing my new co-host for this evening. His name is Matthew the Evil Clone. If you're asking what happened to our good friend Kesh, he has been cancelled for an indefinite amount of time because his absolute gosh darn luck. Okay, so thank you, Matthew the Evil Clone, for filling in for Kesh, who is cancelled. And for those of you who are wishing him well, please wish him well. We hope he recovers from being cancelled. And of course, our star for the evening. You can call him Boy, but some people call him Kino,
Boy,
who is here to Boy to talk about
Hello.
boy.
Adeptus Mechanicus, for our faction focus this Friday. So thank you for tuning in. And for those who are watching right now, please like and subscribe on our different social media channels, platforms, and streaming services: Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, um, Twitter, and Instagram. So, okay, thank you.
Alright, so if you were wondering why Kesh got cancelled, he made this stupid rule where everyone who gets Mona in Genshin Impact gets cancelled because he is very salty man. And this week, he got Mona himself. Therefore, by his own rules, he's cancelled until Tuesday. That is right, I,
Yes.
Matthew the Evil Clone, will also be doing pre-order Monday. And then Kesh will return. But until then, he does not exist, and you're stuck with me, the evil clone.
Yes. Meanwhile, Cash is stuck between two soft places.
Yes, he is stuck between the realm of Haish and Ulgu with Slanesh. They're just chillin'.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so how
So,
about we introduce our guest for this evening? Can you tell us about yourself, boy,
boy,
Uh,
speak.
hello. I am
street
Boy.
boy?
Um, I'm the youngest Dragon Forge player, as far as I know. At least until Small Boy comes along, my brother. Um, I play Admech, and I love him to bits.
Yes, boy likes them robots. So, tonight on Faction Focus Friday, once again, we will talk about what wargame fits your style if you are into skirmish or you're into big combat. And why is this faction for you or not? How you can get started fast, what you buy, and how you can scale up.
And
So,
boy, there are
first,
so many ways to scale up.
oh yes, first of all, big army or skirmish combat. Teacher Mikey, please save my voice.
Okay, so there are two ways to play Warhammer, to play in the grimdark universe of Warhammer 40,000. The primary way, the most common way, the most ubiquitous way to play Warhammer 40,000 is with the big army game. And the other way is through Kill Team, the skirmish combat game. Now, what are the differences? We'll go through them very quickly. If you've been watching our faction focus features for the past few weeks, you would already be familiar with this. But if you're new to the channel, if you're watching this for the first time, so we're giving you the lowdown on which kind of game is for you. So for Warhammer 40,000, that's the big army game. Lots of models, the spectacle. You're all about having lots and lots of models on a huge table and seeing a cinematic experience unfold, on the grand scale. So that you'll see diorama set pieces. You'll be rolling bucketfuls of dice, and it would be the game for you if you have a huge time investment that you can put in terms of assembly time, playing time. But despite the size, it's not necessarily expensive. There are many point levels that you can experience. You can start with combat patrol, a game that lasts an hour to an hour and a half, and there's something about having all of that in front of you, and sharing that experience with an opponent who also has a wonderfully painted army. So if you have the time investment, if you're into big cinematic spectacles, then Big Army Warhammer 40,000 is for you. Now, if you don't have as much time, or so that's also a misnomer, no. But we'll get to that in a bit. Kill Team might be for you if you want to go small scale, see what happens up close and personal, small squads with few models, up close and personal, model to model face offs and encounters. Small time investment, no, in terms of assembly time, collecting, and even the actual game itself. No, you really get to see what happens when two elite teams go against each other. A game could last anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour at most. And now, the nice thing about skirmish combat games is that instead of investing all that money and time on one big army, you can go catch them all, kind of like Pokemon. No? You can collect as many of these skirmish squads as possible, and it's not necessarily less time. No, you can really zero in on how you want to paint your models. You can personalize them. You can take as much time as you want. So that's the summary of Big Army versus skirmish combat. There's not really one that's better than the other. It would highly depend on your time preference, your budget, and the kind of thing that you want to experience. So yeah, that's it.
All right, before we go forward, we would like to acknowledge our viewers, Michael Lim and Juno Alcantara, who are our regular viewers, as well as a random
Hey,
spam bot from Twitch. Hello, random spam bot from Twitch.
hey, Michael, hey, Juno, and hello, JP, who is
Yeah,
also an
we
admech
also
player.
see JP. Yes, excellent.
Yes, chickens are better than than all. Okay,
Hmm.
cool. Okay, well,
I have some words with you, my friend.
yes, we shall get
Boy
back
does
to
not
that now.
approve.
Okay,
Okay,
so let's jump right into it.
all right, so who are the Adeptus Mechanicus? Currently, the Adeptus Mechanicus are one of the big three factions in 40k. You will see them in the top podiums of every tournament. And these top three factions are the Orcs, the Adeptus Mechanicus, and the Drukhari,
Oh
as
my
you can
god.
see from this graphic. Yes. So, but in lore, who are they? The Adeptus Mechanicus are the tech arm of the Imperium of Man based on Mars. Yes, Mars, the red planet. It was founded in early 2000 something by Matt Damon when he was stuck there planting potatoes. Just kidding. It was founded by the Emperor who slew a shard of the Void Dragon, supposedly, and then planted it
Ooh.
there during the time of um, the Eastern Roman Empire, sometime like that. But yes, and yes, no Space Marines today. And
Yes.
so the AdMech are all about the steampunk aesthetic and all about the tech and all about the flesh is weak nonsense. So yes, once again, they are based on Mars and various forge worlds around the galaxy, and they are basically in charge of all the machinery in the Imperium. And the way they do it is through religion. Yes, they worship toasters.
Yes, they worship
Yeah.
toasters like a god.
Hmm.
Now, in some cases, this makes no sense where they have to intone prayers before pressing a button. But sometimes this does make sense when you have a gigantic, semi sentient machine like an Adeptus Titanicus Titan who actually has an AI that may randomly take over the thing. And it is very important to appease them by any means possible.
So
So it sometimes makes sense, it sometimes does not. They are very orthodox, very hidebound, and they do not like new things. Except for Papa Call, who has been overtaken by the tech heresy known as capitalism.
think about it this way. It's like you're about to present with your crummy old laptop, and most of the tech in the Warhammer 40,000 universe is super old that you literally have to pray that it works. So you have to pray that it works during the presentation, that your internet doesn't conk out. No, you pray to the machine
Yes.
spirits. That's basically how it works.
And now, the Adeptus Mechanicus worship something called the Machine God. It is generally accepted by most of the Imperium that it is actually the same as the God Emperor of mankind, but it may also secretly be the Void Dragon,
Dun dun
one of the,
dun.
a Catan shard. So conspiracy theories
Heresy,
there. Yes. So
heresy.
if you want to
Why
learn
are we
more,
spreading
there are a
this?
bunch of novels like Mechanicus set in the Horus Heresy, and anything basically that relates to the Noctis Labyrinthus on Mars. So building and painting AdMech will be discussed to us by Boy.
All right, right now.
Yes, right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Now, Boy.
the thing about AdMech is when you build this Kitari, there's gonna be a lot of coats that you're gonna have to worry about. So that's one of the hardest part is painting the inside of it. Um, Most of everything else is not as hard. It's more just the coats because you have to really get the paintbrush really deep in those coat recesses. Um, there's also a lot of small bits, but that usually isn't too big of an issue, um, since most of them are melded together. Uh, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yes. And an important note for Adeptus Mechanicus, there are a lot of fiddly bits that can snap off. There are also a lot of multi kits here. And yes, Eric, you will need to rewatch the start of the stream to find out why Kesh was replaced and cancelled. So take note that, for example, if you buy an AdMech kit, you can build a few different kits from it, and we will discuss those various options here tonight. My
By the way,
throat is starting to hurt.
I have a question for the boy. Boy,
Yes.
Ask the
how do you
boy.
make how do you make the painting much easier? For I have no time. For I'm a man.
Uh, well, what I would do is just kind of not paint the parts where the brush doesn't reach. It's also an option to uh, prime the insides and then paint it before sticking in the legs. But that's a bit more hassle. Either
So
way,
sub
it's
assemblies.
sub assemblies. Um, well, you have the option to magnetize it, and so you can sort of uh, paint the parts that you want and then just attach them later. Um, or what I do, because magnets are a hassle, is I plan out my list beforehand and then build the sub assemblies based on that.
Okay. Thank you for the speed painting tip. I will certainly
Yes. Remember that there is also the magic of contrast. So if your preferred paint of choice has a contrast paint, do the contrast paint.
indeed. And
Yes,
remember to prime before sticking the legs on.
indeed. So AdMech on the tabletop, they are very heavily specialized, and according to Boy, haha, gunlines go burr. They
Mhm.
are very durable if you roll right. Otherwise, the infantry are like paper. They are very fragile, but you will bring a lot of them, and you will see a lot. And you need to think forward about what you're doing in terms of your canticles and your other stuff. And yes, boy, the big guns go zoom. So
Yes, they're
yes, they
very
are actually
fast.
they are one of the best gun lines and shooty armies at the moment in 40k, if not the best shooty army in 40k at the moment.
Oh, what a coincidence! They seem to be the best shooting squad in Kill Team as well. What a
Yes.
coincidence!
So if you wanted to start an Adeptus Mechanicus army, we would of course recommend the Combat Patrol. The Combat Patrol actually has great value. It includes one box of the Skitari, so you will only need 7 boxes more. One of the Onger Dune crawlers, which boy aggressive sims for, and the these things,
Cataphrons.
the Cataphrons, they are basically servitors with tank threads. So they are also troops. They are heavier troops, and we will discuss them later. So how do Adeptus Mechanicus work in Kill Team? Teacher Mikey.
Okay, so I already clued you in into how they are in skirmish combat. No, whereas in 40k they have this massive gun line that's also oppressive. No, in its shooting. No, but they're also paper defenses. A lot of the principles apply in Kill Team. So you will notice that pattern that a lot of the factions, the way they play in 40k translates pretty well in Kill Team, almost to a fault, no? But sometimes it it changes the dynamic entirely because like in 40k, you're looking at I fire everything at you with the kitchen sink. Um, in Kill Team, that does you don't get to do that. No? It's alternating activations. No, so you you'll notice that it's not as oppressive, but they still have one of the most accurate shots in Kill Team. And they have a couple of flex models. No? So when we say flex models, these are models that are they're flexible. What it says on the cover, they can shoot, they can hit, but they're not kind of like guardsmen. If they get into melee, they'll fold. They'll probably go bzz, bzz, and die. No,
Yeah,
it's
please do note that they
short.
are figuratively flexible. Do not actually try to flex your models. They will
Please
break.
don't.
Yeah,
Okay,
do not do
so
They're
that.
so easy.
let's pachow and let's see how we can assess the AdMech kill teams now. So they are a semi elite semi horde. What does that mean? You're bringing a total of 10 models. No? You're choosing from 2 fire teams or 1 fire team, and we'll get to that in a bit. No, but you're basically bringing 10 models, and 10 models is pretty good. The upper limit is 14, the lowest is 5. If you're at 10, that basically means you're not swarming the board as much, but you've chosen to put a little more power into your models. And what we've seen, because Skill Team is a month old right now, no, since Octarius dropped, there've been 5 tournaments already, and people have discovered that 10 might be the sweet spot in terms of power and coverage. And what makes AdMech really good in Kill Team right now, they're not the number one. No, they're not the number one faction. That honor goes to Adeptus Custodes. To Talons of the Emperor. Sorry, we'll have another discussion that later. No, but um, right now we would put AdMech slash Forge World. So that's what they're called right now. Forge World Kill Teams are I could put them at a solid number 4. No, and that's because of how accurate their shooting is. It can be oppressive, especially once you've learned how Overwatch works. You basically get free shots after your opponent has moved everything. That's why you want to keep it at 10. They have a toolbox play style. I think AdMech is the thinking man's squad. I think the same principle applies in 40k, where you need to know which canticle you need to use, which imperative you want to get into. So there are no canticles right now. So in the previous edition of Kill Team, there were canticles. You can choose what happens. Though there are no canticles in Kill Team right now, but there are imperatives that you can get into. And the way imperatives works is you get a buff and a debuff at once. Okay, so you can be good at shooting this round, but you'll be super crappy at melee for this round. And then next round you choose another imperative, or you can choose an imperative where nothing happens, so you don't get debuffed. So it's a thinking man squad. You don't just point and click, but rest assured they are sort of a point and delete squad. No, if they fire at something, you're you're probably bringing them close to death. No, but except if you're playing custodies, death. Okay, and they're pretty easy to collect. You need just later when you get to the buyer's guide, you only need 1 box, and you can be very effective with that. And as the boy did say, they are a challenge to paint, but your mileage may vary. Okay, pachow. There you go. So this is sort of preempting the buyer's guide, but these are your build options. You can go pure Skitari, or you can mix it up with one band of Skitari and one fire team of Skitari and one fire team of Sicarians. Okay, but or get a combat patrol. Get a combat patrol. The combat patrol is pretty cheap. You get the dumpster. Tama na. It's the one that comes with the dumpster truck. It comes with a dumpster truck. I
Hey
think.
boy, we just called your onager a dumpster truck.
Wait,
I
what?
love it.
Hold the Okay, I'm gonna get into that later.
I love the dumpster truck, but anyway, Pachao, it looks pretty cool. Okay, so
It's
things
not a
that you
dumpster truck.
so it's a caveat. No, there's a caveat when it comes to Adeptus mechanical skill teams. There is a compendium. They are here, but they are not in their peak. It's not their max
It's
power.
not their final form.
It is not their final form, and you need to get the mandatory DLC, which is White Dwarf 468. Get from us at the Dragon Forge. You will get to see the Hunter Clade guilty, which is a direct and a strict upgrade of the Compendium version. Now, it doesn't totally obsolete the Compendium version. The value of using the Compendium version is that you can go you can lean hard into melee. You can lean hard into melee with the Sicarian Rust Stalkers, which are kind of meh in this edition. No, and I think also in 40k. No? But in Kill Team in this edition, you're probably not taking Rust Stalkers. No? But the other advantage of sticking to the Compendium, you get to bring more plasma. And who doesn't like more plasma? Right? Okay. But if you want to play AdMech at its best, with a little less plasma, with a little less melee, and let's face it, AdMech isn't really built for melee. But if you want to go that route, no. But if you want to play again, Forge World at its best, get White Dwarf 468. It's gonna feature the 100 play kill team.
Yes. An important note is that they will also probably put this update in a compilation at the end of the year or whenever you decide to do compilations. So you can also opt to wait for those if you don't really have like games happening and are plagued with the plague.
Yes, definitely. Okay, but ciao. So very quickly lang, Skirara Fire teams. Will you get the box of that? You can build your vanguards or rangers. I highly recommend vanguards for mobility. But if you want to go for more power, you can take rangers, but you won't be able to move as much because by default, by default, the rangers are equipped with heavy weapons, which means you can't normal move and shoot, but you can dash and shoot. But the advantage is they hit harder, like a little harder. No, not much harder, a little harder. But if you want to squeeze out the damage, go for rangers. But kill team isn't about you can kill. It's kill team, but it's a game of mobility, and I would highly recommend building your dudes as vanguards. But I don't think you can go either way. You can mix them up, but if any opportunity that you can take vanguards, take vanguards. But as a whole, no. So I put here vanguards. So reliable source of shooting, huh? um, vanguards, but also applies to Skitari. But you just want to be able to make sure that you're mobile. So this is for both Compendium and the White Dwarf Hunter Clade versions of the kill team. Okay. Next are the Sicarians. Take infiltrators always. No, I'm pretty sure they also suck in 40k if you turn them into rust stalkers. But infiltrators are good flex models in kill team. They can tie up opponents in battle. Keep them stuck there, force them to fall back, fight for objectives, but don't expect them to survive prolonged combat. No, do not let yourself be charged if you're using Sicarians. Make sure you're always charging, just to maximize their capabilities. You can bring Rust Stalkers. They are purely melee. It's not recommended, but if you have space on your roster and you can bring 20 models, go ahead. There might be things that we can discover later on. Remember, Kill Team is still a month old. Things we're trying to find out, like how to beat Custodes reliably. But yeah, so AdMech, Kill Team, number 4 in my book, and number 4 in a lot of lists on the YouTubes. So you can't go wrong with them. Good shooting team.
Oh, okay. So Adeptus Mechanicus in the big army setting in 40k. So we will discuss the different game army types, which we have done before. So we're just gonna gloss through it. So first of all is Combat Patrol, which is a small 500 points game, and then the biggest is the Onslaught, which is 3,000 points. But usually tournaments are around the 2,000 point range. So we you really only want to build up to 2,000. You can build up to 3,000 if you want, but if you want to go competitive, 2,000 is the sweet spot. And if you want to just play small, quick games, 500 is good. So battles, a combat patrol will last you around an hour, while a strike force will last you around 3 hours. Though in a competitive setting, you will have to squeeze that into 2.5 hours. And of course, the battlefield size will vary depending on the size of your game. So, force organization charts are how you organize your models, obviously. So, they're how you organize your force, thus, force organization. The most basic force organization chart is the patrol detachment, which costs you 2 CP but refunds 2 CP if your warlord is in it. And the only required requirements are the one HQ and one troop, which the combat patrol box will actually give you one HQ, two troops, and the heavy support. So that's incredibly good for you.
And as
Eventually,
a
you can move.
bonus, di ba?
Yeah,
Yeah, and the big bonus to that is if you're starting an ad mech kill team, you already have you're one model away from a patrol detachment,
one
basically.
unit away.
One unit away.
Yeah. So, but like just one box of Skitari and an HQ are not gonna fill up 500 points. So you're gonna have to buy more. Like, do not be deceived by Mikey and his wiles. Yes.
Get the
So
dumpster truck.
just called it the dumpster truck again, boy.
It's a crab, damn it,
I love
or
it.
a spider. Doesn't
Okay,
matter.
so like every other faction out there, Adeptus Mechanicus has sub factions. Sub factions were introduced in 8th ed for everyone who is not a Space Marine. Used to be only Space Marines had sub factions, but now everyone gets them, making Space Marines sad that their white privilege has been like removed. So Boy will be discussing to us the various Adeptus Mechanicus subfactions and which ones are particularly good. Boy.
Yes. Okay. So first off, there's Agrippina, which pretty much lore wise has had their whole life being assaulted from the Eye of Terra. So they've pretty much learned to give the big middle finger to Chaos. Um, Second is Graia. Lore wise, their planet is amazing. Actually, it has enough thrusting power to deorbit itself from its sun in case it wants to move away. Um, Another thing is their priests and their Skitari are so devoted to logic that magic doesn't work on them just because they don't believe it does. In the tabletop, um, pretty much they're one of the most durable. They have a 6 up, don't die. And another thing is that, well, they don't run from combat if you roll a 6. Um, Another thing is Lucius. I'm not super sure what their lore is, but in the tabletop, they are really durable, ignoring AP -1. And another thing is their whole thing is teleporting. So their warlord can teleport. They can just get regular boys to teleport. Um, Next is Mars. Lucius, by the way, is one of the most competitive lists. And so is Mars, which has a thing that lets you use 2 canticles at once. And canticles are really powerful, so having 2 of them at the same time is just spicy. Um, and they're vanilla. they're still very shooty based, as Admech are apt to be. Um, Next is Metallica. Um, Belisarius' call belongs to Mars, the classic red robes. And then Metallica, they have the white robes, and they're pretty much um, just keep walking, and that's it. They just like walking a lot. Um,
JP.
Yes,
yes,
that is
Lucius
utterly
Vanguard.
correct.
Uh, there's also another way to play Vanguard. To play Lucius with your tech priest. Sorry, your tech priest bombs. Yeah, and we'll get to that later. Another thing is Ryza, um, which they're the melee boys.
Um,
Um,
let's just answer this boy. Belicarius is in Mars.
yes.
He's a
Continue,
Martian.
boy.
Okay, so Ryza, they do the big punch. So if Admech have some very specialized melee units, so you could always grab those and run Ryza. And they also have really good plasma. Like it can burn enough to burn through a Lehman Russ. Um, Another thing is Styges. They're shady even for the Admech. So their whole thing on the tabletop is because they're so shady, they're hard to hit with a -1 to getting shot at. Um, they also, in lore, are the most xenophilic, or more, they just love to study xenotechnology.
Study.
Study.
Love to study.
Definitely not use. And then custom forge worlds, which you can flavor in any way you like. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much it for the sub factions.
Indeed. So once again, to recap, the strongest ones at the moment are Lucius or Mars or a combination of both, which we will be seeing in many tournament lists. So first up, we will be discussing the troops. They are your basic units for your battle line, your objective takers, and are divided into two: the Skitari with the Vanguard and the Rangers which are the basic infantry with nice guns but like fold like paper, and your Cataphrons which are mini tanks with a lot of daka. So, boy, take it away.
Yes. So you need to buy a lot of Skatari Rangers because now they can blob up into squads of 20, which, with their guns of basic guns that are heavy 2 and AP -1, you'll be tearing through Space Marine armor, at least if you're lucky enough. I also
You don't need
suggest
luck when you have 80 Skitari Rangers.
that also, yes.
Yeah, it's an attrition war.
They also have the absolute best snipers in the game, the Transuranic Arquebus, which has enough power to tear through the armor of a tank and assassinate a character in one shot.
So that's how you say it. Transanalic.
Transuranic.
Trans your anus.
Trans transanalic archib
Trans
arquebus.
your
Arquebus.
anus, Archibus. It will
Um,
penetrate your butt.
yes, it's
Oh, eh.
it's for a sniper. It's strength 7, AP -2. So you can tear through actually like a toughness 5 vehicle pretty easily, and they're just the best, and I field as many of them as I can. Also with a Omni Specs, which is an upgrade for uh, the unit that basically lets you ignore cover. So imagine facing down a squad of 40 shots, AP -1 with no cover. Uh,
Yes,
yes.
it is made of pain. And
Hmm.
seriously, guys, these things are so broken because that's one of the best snipers in the game with a shit ton of ablative wounds.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, In other armies, you see a sniper, you start shooting, you start losing sniper shots, but this one is buried in a lot of bodies.
Yes.
And seriously, there are tournament lists that run 80 of these guys. 80.
Wild.
80. I've seen a tournament list with 80 Skitari Rangers and 20 Skitari Vanguard. So it's pretty crazy, man.
Who
They
has
Um.
are
time? Who has
they
time to
are
paint
the
all of that?
new Imperial Guard.
Who has
Oh,
time to paint all of that?
another
Uh,
thing.
Everyone during the pandemic, Mikey.
Another thing is they can be equipped with the plasma calivers and the arc rifles. The arc rifles are a cheap anti-tank alternative if you don't have enough space for plasma calivers. But I don't suggest either because of their short ranges compared to the base guns.
Yeah. What I'm actually seeing in the competitive lists are people are not even taking special weapons. It's just all galvanic rifles, just through sheer number of shots. It's pretty freaking insane, man.
Mm,
They are the new Imperial Guard with better guns and more metal.
yes. Oh, not to mention
robots.
a 6-up invulnerable save, so even your
They are
biggest
also
guns have a chance
sisters.
of not tearing through them.
Yes, but Tito Hesed will tell us the effectiveness of the 6+ invul save when it comes to friendly fire from VN.
Uh, oh, and then we'll move on to their kit alternative, the Skitari Vanguard. You're gonna
Yes,
want them as your body shields for your bigger guns in the back line. Also, you can use them for your anti tank because their guns are cancerous. So much so that the users of said guns slowly die of radiation as they wield them. Um, in the tabletop, they have their base guns are Assault 3. So, pretty much, well, they're Strength 3, but on a 6 on wounding, they deal 2 damage.
ew.
So, if you try hard enough, statistically, you'll probably kill a tank if you want to. Um, and these guys are the ones you're gonna want with the plasma calivers, as those their ranges mesh well together, both 18 inches.
Yeah, but you don't have to. Also see lists where they really just spam um, the basics.
Hmm.
But yes, the plasma calivers are much better in this one than in the Rangers. But they do not have access to the Transuranus Arquebus.
Well, they don't they anymore? I
I
remember
don't
they
think they do.
used to. Well, I remember they used to, but either way, it's
Well,
not the
either way,
best
yeah, you don't want to
since
do
you're
it
gonna
for
want to have
Vanguards.
these guys moving.
Indeed.
Um,
Oh, they have
another
it in Kill Team.
thing.
They
They
have
do
it in
have it.
Kill
Ooh,
Team. Then I
well,
Right.
guess Matthew must be wrong.
it's kind of wasted, but
Yeah,
um,
don't do it.
you're gonna want them moving. They also have a thing where anything within melee range, uh, just because of the cancer that these guys emanate, it transfers to them, and their toughness goes down by 1. I think,
Yes, they
although
get
the
minus
rules
one
may have
toughness.
changed.
They give cancer
Yes.
for
Yeah, they
So
give
touching them.
cancer in Kill Team as well.
yeah.
I forgot to mention that.
So they're good to tar pit some models, drop in some infiltrators or rust stalkers or priests, anything melee related, and just
Indeed.
sweep up anything.
Okay. So next are the Cataphrone Destroyers, one of the first
Whew.
Cataphrone kits. One of the
Yes.
two Cataphrone variants. Boy, tell us about these destroyers.
So these ones are a bit fragile with a 4-up base save. But they do have amazing guns with heavy plasma and heavy grav rifles. Sorry, grav cannons. They're all very shooty. They have no melee options. So you're gonna want them as a gun line, just tearing holes through your enemy's lines, especially through tanks. You can have them hold objectives if you want, but and they're a bit more durable than Skitari. Uh, but their other alternative is better for holding objectives. If you'd like to transfer to that, please. The Cataphren Breachers. These guys are more
Chunky
heavily
boys.
armored, um, more durable than their destroyer counterpart. You're gonna want these guys to hold objectives because they can tank a hit, and they actually have melee options. So uh, they're not completely useless in melee. They have big guns, yes, but not as powerful as the destroyer counterpart. Again, you just want these on objectives.
What? Eric thinks that the breachers are less cute than the destroyers. I beg to disagree.
I
The
beg to
Cataphrone breachers
disagree.
are cute.
They're
They're both
fucking
cute.
adorable.
They're both cute. I like both.
They
Right.
are thick.
They
All
do
right.
be
So
thick.
so next
They
are
look
the
like
HQs, the leader units for your army. They're expensive but powerful for the most part, and they're independent units and they are force multipliers. Do not look for smash captains in Adeptus Mechanicus. You will
Hmm.
not find them. Instead, you will find the Skitari Marshal. The
Woo,
Skitari freaking Marshal. He just got
beautiful.
released and now he's in every single list. Boy, take it away.
Yes, so the Skitari Marshals, they buff your Skitari, make them much more viable. Um, I'm not 100% sure on what else they do. Uh, all I know is they're very good for Skitari, which, especially when you're bringing 80 of them, you are going to need.
Yes.
All those rerolls.
Yes, he is a reroll provider.
Mhm.
He is a
Oh,
space marine lieutenant.
there
Space
are not
Marine!
there are not enough buckets to roll all of the
Yes.
dice.
And in a shooty, mass shooty army like Adeptus Mechanicus, like having a primaris lieutenant is amazing.
They're the DACA faction now. It's wild.
Yes.
That's super wild.
And he is very poggy. And if you play 30k, he also has the exact loadout that you need for the Sketari HQ for the Secretary HQ for the Adeptus Mechanicus faction. Sorry, the Mechanicum faction before the Adeptus Mechanicus were even a thing. So it serves dual purpose.
This is such a nice model.
Now the
Super nice.
Mm.
Dominus. Please tell us about the
Yes.
Dominus. The
The
lore.
Dominus is my standard my standard HQ option. They give rerolls to everything, which is really spicy when you play a shooty army. They can hold their own in combat, but I'd recommend not putting them there unless they're specifically kitted for it, which you can do.
Or you're
They
fighting
have
Tau Fire Warriors.
Yeah. They have access to repairing the big chunky tanks.
Chonker.
Um, so your things will just never die.
Yeah,
Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah. The
That's
Skitari
why they're
Marshal
tech
does not
priests.
repair things, but the Dominus does.
yes, it's
He's not
very
afraid to get
good.
his hands and tentacles dirty.
And
Now the
then we
engines here.
have the Tech Priest engines here. This is your budget HQ. If you want someone to just fill in HQ slots, you can have the engines here. They don't grant any rerolls, but they are good for sitting next to your big guns and repairing them. Next is the Tech Priest Manipulus. This
They're
guy
chunky.
also, he do be the chunkiest, yes. He doesn't have the same rerolls that the Dominus or Marshall do, but he has another thing which either improves Skitari movement or improves their range. So if you want your Vanguard to stay put, because of their 18-inch range, you can buff that up by 6 inches, I believe, and be able to just cancer blast anything from if my math is correct, 24 inches away.
Yeah, definitely an instant buy for your gun line.
Hmm.
And this guy is sad. The techno archaeologist is
Yeah,
actually one of the best
Oh,
HQ units in the Adeptus Mechanicus Codex, but you
they
can't
nerfed
even
him.
get him anymore because he's only
Yeah,
available in the Blackstone Fortress expansion,
escalation.
expansion. Yeah,
escalation expansion. Yes,
escalation.
boy had to buy an entire Blackstone Fortress expansion just for one guy,
Yeah.
and there are rumors that he might get shunted to Legends. But for now, boy, what does he do?
It used to be so good. Back in 8th ed, he had a better marker light, which pretty much anyone with 6 inches point at that thing, you get +1 to shoot. And it was just whew. Um but now I think he still does have access to the repairs. But his buff isn't as good as it was before. Um Let me recheck what it did.
Yeah, but at least he's no longer a named character, so you can bring more
Yes.
if
You
you can
can,
find more.
yes. If yeah, that's the issue. If you have enough money for that.
Yeah, and
Um
yeah, don't be sad if you can't get him because there is a huge possibility that he might go to Legends.
yeah.
Oh, that's sad. That's sad for the
Yeah.
people who went after that BSF expansion.
It's okay.
I went
Boy
after
can
it.
still play Blackstone Fortress with us.
Yeah. Um
Definitely.
if you have well, he also has a thing where you can't deep strike within 12 inches of him
Yes, that's
just
amazing.
because of his aura. But when you're fielding 80 models, that's not really an issue.
That is true. You're swamping the board.
Yeah.
So I guess
Uh
he's better for elite type armies.
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Very situational.
Maybe if you're bringing a lot of Imperial Knights.
Yeah, that works.
Oh, call.
Call.
Ah, ah.
Belly Series Call with a chunky belly.
Papa
Um,
Primaris himself.
the Grand Heretic. Um, he has the same stuff that Tech Priest does, the repairs and the rerolls. But his rerolls this time, instead of just rerolling ones, they are reroll all fails in the shooting phase. Um, he is pretty decent in melee, able to tear through smaller units and maybe tar pit another tank, maybe. But aside from that, because his points were up way too much, people just don't really bring him anymore.
Yes,
Good model though,
he is assigned to Oblivion as he should be for his tech heresies.
for his capitalism.
Yes, for his capitalism. Alright, so the elites. I will be discussing the elites. There are mostly independent units and they are mostly melee units, and boy does not like melee. So I am doing this one. So, and their offensive support, they also have characters like the Death Guard that do buffs. So let's get into it. First up are the Corpus Carry Electro Priests, one of the true Electro Priest variants. They're honestly the less powerful one since they're actually a horde buster, better against hordes, and you don't really need that in an army like Adeptus Mechanicus. And the better option for the multi kit would be the Fulgurite Electro Priests, though they do deal a lot more damage. But the problem with them is they are soft, and getting them into melee is a problem because you want to blob them up, but if you blob them up, you won't be able to fit in a transport. So, but Master Jeff is a big fan of these guys, and unfortunately hasn't finished painting any, so we won't be able to show you. So, if you do want the priests, you're also required to get transports.
The
Now,
dump truck.
the Sicarian infiltrators are the better version of the Sicarians. specifically because they can infiltrate. Just because of that, it gives them greater mobility and it lets them hide behind things and deployment shenanigans, which makes it more likely for them to actually get into melee. The Rust Stalkers, while also decent and brought in a lot of lists, are less of an auto take than the Infiltrators, specifically because they don't have Infiltrate. They do deal a lot more damage, but it's a lot harder to deliver them into melee where they need to go. Now, the servitors, they do the same thing here as they do in Space Marine lists. You bring them and they sit on an objective or do actions. Really, they're insanely cheap, and a lot of lists do have space for them if you have like 35 points or 40 points that you're not really using. And hey, you just want to perform actions. Like, you can't go wrong with servitors. Just don't give them guns or anything, just have them do actions. Now, the Cybernetica Data Smith, also known as Jinzo from Yu-Gi-Oh, is something that you can actually get from the Castellan Robots box. It comes with them. He buffs the Castellan robots, and if you buy the Castellans, you should always be bringing this guy. And the all right, so for fast attack, they are quite literally fast attackers. They are mobile offensive units. They have some hit and run tactics. They are relatively frail compared to like something like in the elite section, but it depends on what. The Cerberus Raiders are actually more hardy than a lot of things. But let's start discussing with the Iron Strider Ballistari. Boy.
Right. So these are their shooty variant. They are really fast gun walkers, and they have really good anti-tank options, specifically their las cannons,
Yes.
um, which are very spicy and can tear through tanks quite well.
Yes.
You're
These
gonna
are
want to run
actually,
these. Oh, you're gonna want
yeah.
to run these in squads of three.
Yes, definitely. These were like a huge main. They are still a huge mainstay in competitive armies, though not as much before because they used to have the core keyword, and thankfully they lost the core keyword, so they're no longer as awfully busted as they were on release. But they are still incredibly strong,
Yeah.
Buy
as
chickens
opposed
now.
to the Sidonian Dragoon, which is the other option in the kit, where they're not shooty at all. They're actually melee anti-horde, and if you buy them, you should go into like you should go all out into them. Otherwise, do not bother. So, like Boy
Yes.
says, buy six or buy none. So yeah, but personally, do the Iron Strider Ballistari because last cannons are last cannons, and
And you got
mobile last
legs for
cannons are
days.
even better. And you have legs for days. Like
Legs for
they
days.
obviously skip leg day. Now, the Cerberus Raiders are incredibly fast options, and they are actually the skirmisher of choice for a lot of armies. You cannot go wrong with having one or two small three-man units in your list just for being really fast, for harassment, and for area denial. Really, these are understatedly good, and they are in almost every list. uh, as opposed to the Cerberus Sulfur Hounds, which you should never build them as raiders. GW didn't even bother to make a separate entry on the web store for them. That's how garbage they are.
That's
Honestly,
sad.
I know. Like when even like your creator forgets you.
Mm.
Like it's
Jesus.
so sad. Yeah. Now we get to the Teraxi. Now the Teraxi got like a lot of bad rep because they were utterly broken for a few weeks upon release because they could come in with a stratagem, shoot, and then come back out without their opponent being able to shoot them or do anything to them. Now that's been fixed, but they are still good. The Teraxi Sky Stalkers are not as good as the Sterilizers. The Sterilizers are the no think pick. So if you're they're like super meta flamer thingamajiggies. and they really specialize in an alpha strike. Once they come down, do not expect them to live. If they live, that's a bonus. But their entire purpose is to come down, kill something, and die. So make sure that you find something that is a worthwhile trade. Now for heavy support,
Oh
boys'
boy.
favorite slot. This
Yes.
is either long range Daka or robots. They are very durable armor and they are also very expensive both in terms of the monies and the points. First of all, we have the Castellan robots with Jinzo. Boy, discuss the
Yeah.
robots.
So
Robots.
the robots, they're the Baymaxes,
Yes,
um,
Baymax.
but also very spicy. You see, they have a thing called Doctrina imperatives that let them either be really durable, really shooty, or really punchy. Um, First is the Aegis Protocol, which lets them bounce shots off of themselves with a chance to ricochet the bullet onto the enemy. Um, the what is it? The Protector Doctrine Imperative basically turns them into sentries. They're not allowed to move, but they do get to shoot twice. And the thing is, they've got phosphor blasters, three of them, which you can, which each have, I believe, three shots, and they come in a base of two models. Uh, so if you do all the math, you get 36 shots with all of that. Um, Another option is the big fisty option, where instead of the gun on the shoulder, you get a flamer and two fists. But now I believe in ninth edition, you can swap out. You can mix the uh, shooty arm with the punchy arm.
Ooh,
Um,
Spicy.
and so that's, I think, uh,
the
the
ideal.
better option now.
I
Yeah.
see.
Um, and they really excel when you have the Conqueror Doctrine Imperative, which lets them move double their speed and fight twice, but they don't get to shoot. Um, but they would be really good as screen units, or as a Lucius bomb, um,
Ooh,
which is very spice.
that's disgusting.
Yes, it is.
All right. So next we have boy's personal favorite, the
Yes, my
Onager Dune
best.
caller.
The
All right,
best
Whoa.
boy.
boys.
Don't spend half an
Yes.
hour on this. Just but go
Okay.
ahead.
Onager Dune crawlers are the best. They look awesome. They have invulnerable saves, uh, and their weapon kits are just the best. You have the Eradication Ray, the Icarus Array, the best gun, Neutron Laser, and twin autocannons. I don't really bother with the autocannons and the Eradication Ray. While um, they are doable, they're decent. They're just not the best. Yes, it is very good to magnetize them, um, but what I do is I usually bring two neutron lasers and one Icarus array. Okay, so let me tell you about the neutron laser. It's a
Here we
strength
go.
12, AP minus 4, D3 plus 3 damage. So you can tear through a Lehman Russ. I think even a Land Raider, yeah?
Yes, you can. It's
Yeah.
a 3
Wild.
plus 2 wound on a Land Raider.
Yeah, so minus 4 AP, none of those tanks are getting any armor saves, which is just
Except
oh
for Thousand Suns with their 5 plus invulnerable saves.
yeah, but it that's like an exception. But the neutron lasers, oh, it's the best. Oh my god! And for some reason, it's being phased out by the new kid on the block, but we'll get to that in a bit. Um, There's also an Icarus array, which is the best for anti-air.
Which no
But
one
they're
brings.
also really good chaff. Yeah. Um, there's a lot of flying units, so well, not a lot, but they're
Not
always
really.
good for anti-air.
There are
They've
actually
got.
less flying things in this edition than in the
Oh,
last.
really?
Yes, there
Okay.
are.
All right. Well, either way, now they're good anti medium infantry, so you can always have them to shoot at space marines. Um,
Are they 2 damage, boy?
um, some of their guns are 2 damage or higher, except for one, which is just 1 damage, but they're still pretty good. Oh, you also get a heavy stubber with these.
Stub
They're
sub.
not, yeah, they're not too different from regular heavy stubbers, except I think they get to shoot on base ballistic skill when you advance.
Oh,
Um, but either way, you don't want to advance the magnificent crabs.
I see. Anyway, guys, just as a disclaimer, boy is a simp. Like boy simps very hard for the Onager Dune crawlers.
Mm-hmm.
They did dominate incredibly hard in eighth. Like they made people cry. Like our good friend Tits in particular, I believe hates these things. Also,
Mm-hmm.
Vian hates these things. Gino hates these
Yes,
things.
everybody hates
Yeah,
these.
but nowadays the glorious Normandy tank seems to be the more popular option. So here we go. This is the Scorpius
Okay.
Yes!
disintegrator.
Okay,
Dump
shut
This
the fuck up.
trucks!
the
Shut the fuck
with
up. Shut the fuck up.
this is the better option right now, not because it has a better gun, but because it is cheaper.
Here's the thing.
The
Would you
trigger.
rather get a very cheap uh what is it? A very cheap mouse or an expensive one that can last for a while, okay?
How many cheap mice can I get though?
You can still bring three. To be fair, you can still bring three. Here's the
Yes,
thing.
but then
Here's the
you're
thing.
bringing less rangers.
Yeah, but okay. The onagers are gonna make up for it because they have the anti-infantry, they have the anti-medium infantry. They got the best anti-tank guns. Okay, hear me out, right? Neutron Onager Dune Crawlers. They get an invuln save, they have a higher toughness, and they have better guns versus the Disintegrator, which does nothing but stand there and shoot without even an invuln save, which is. Why? I don't know why people like this more. I like the Onager more, and it's beautiful.
You see, boy, having the onager there is like a gigantic fire target. It's going to attract all of the fire. While these guys are more easily ignored.
And they look like dump
Okay.
trucks. I love it. They look like dump
But
trucks.
that's why you have the tech priests there to repair them, and you also have some
Can repair
distraction
these too.
carnifexes. Yes, but the onagers don't get hit as much because of the invuln save.
But boy, no one brings onagers anymore.
Well, that doesn't matter. They're wrong. I'm right. You're all crazy.
So
Okay.
anyway, let's get to the dedicated transport, which is only one thing.
The actual
Yes.
With
dump truck.
yes. So they're here to bring your people to combat faster. They're very durable, but they do lack offense, and you can take them to the beaches of Normandy. So this
Yes!
is the Scorpius Dune Rider, the Normandy tank. It's exactly what you see, and what you see is what you get. It's there to transport your guys. You buy this with the electro priests or not at all. Only with electro priests. You don't bother with like these things for Vanguard or for Rangers. If you want your electro priest to even stand like a fraction of a chance of getting into combat, you have to buy one of these per 10. And
And
yes, Michael, it does have a working gate.
yes. Uh, they're also useful. I don't hate these much as the other version because they don't
Thank
steal the
you.
onager's job.
Thank
But
you.
the thing they're actually really good after they drop the electro priests because now I think vehicles can shoot into melee, right?
Yes.
And with
Indeed, they can.
the many guns that they have, you can ram it into melee and just harp hit infantry, or you have the option of charging it into a vehicle and then using a uh, stratagem to blow it up. Um, yes, which is beautiful. Also, because of their boxiness, I was thinking that they could be used to obscure infantry behind them as mobile walls.
And hey,
Um,
boy, I figured
yes.
out why these are more popular. Because they look like muscle cars. And who needs crabs when you have family?
Shut the fuck up. You don't bring Vin Diesel into this.
Well, Juno has the solution. Put
No,
all of
no,
her legs.
lies. You put an onager neutron laser on a Scorpius body.
But
That's the
then it
way
won't
it
be a crab
works.
anymore.
It
But does it
doesn't
have a
matter. It's still got the neutron laser.
but does it have a working gate?
The neutron laser is all that matters.
Well,
All right. So,
Jonathan loves legs. Okay, so he wants legs. He wants
okay.
legs.
So there are three options for the flyers. And the AdMech flyer is very chunky. It's more than a burb. It's more than a plane. It's a burb plane. It's a motherfucking burb plane. So it's actually better than most flyers in ninth edition because it's very maneuverable area denial. And I mean, it looks kind of stupid. I don't know.
But
It looks
also
like it looks
pretty
like a flying
beautiful.
chicken. Like I'm
It's
not exactly
very,
sure what it's trying to be.
I don't know, I like it because it's very Da Vinci like.
Yeah, that is true. It is very Da Vinci like. So, boy, can you discuss the three variants for us?
Okay, so the first is the Archaeopter Transvector. You don't want these. They transport six models, which you're not really gonna get much out of, anyways. And really, there's not much use to them. Their guns aren't the best. So you can just skip these ones. Next is the Archaeopter Fusilave. I believe these are the bombers. Um, they're they're pretty good actually. Because uh, again, they're very maneuverable, so you can fly over some models, turn around, and fly back. Although they still sometimes get shot down early. Their bombs are pretty alright. They have a neat thing where they can. Well, this goes for all the Archaeopters, but you can use a stratagem to ignore the invuln saves of models within a certain area of it.
Right.
Um, their bombs are really the reason you want to take these. And yeah,
So, I hear that the Stratoraptor has this command uplink thing that has a stratagem that shuts down auras.
yeah, that's the one I was talking about. Or is it shut down auras or
Yeah, it's
invuln
shut down
saves?
auras.
It's auras, not invuln saves. I'm sorry. Um,
Do not be sorry. Be
be
better.
better. All right.
Boy.
Uh, these ones are your fighter options. They've got auto cannons, and they've got las cannons. Again, as we said with the chickens, um, mobile anti tank guns are amazing.
Yes.
So you're gonna want to get these boys. Only if you have enough space and time.
Okay. Now, there are quite a few Lord of War options for the Adeptus Mechanicus, which is basically the entire Imperial Knight Codex. But we will be discussing those in another episode strictly for Imperial Knights because honestly, they do deserve an entire episode just for them. So it's the same thing. You take a Supreme Command detachment or well, not the Supreme Command for these ones. It's the uh the detachment that lets you bring Lords of War. So Anyways, for rule of cool, you play what you want. If you want to be like boy and
Mhm.
bring suboptimal onagers
Shut the
all
fuck
day,
up. They're optimal.
you can do that.
Or you can
But
take
of
dump
course,
trucks, like the
Uh,
actual dump trucks.
yes. Iron
Iron
Strider.
Strider legs are, I think, too fiddly. You'd end up with an 8080.
Yeah. Yeah, you would. Although
Sorry,
that
an
does sound kind of
ATST
cool.
rather, an ATST.
ST. You're right, right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah. 8080 is four legs. Yeah.
The four-legged. Yeah.
Yes, yes. We'll be talking about those when we get to Star Wars Legion. So, the buyer's guide to add mech kill team. Once again, for kill team, it's just the Skitari box and the Skikarians box. Then you're done. Very quick, very easy to get into. And for AdMac 40K, Michael, I think, said in the comments that it's looking to be very expensive. And Michael would be correct.
Yes.
Because, first of all, you need a shit ton of Rangers. Then you need a lot, but
Time.
not
You
as
need time.
many Vanguard. Yeah.
You need
Honestly,
time.
there are lists with 80 Rangers, 80, 80, 4 squads 20, and a 20-man squad of Rangers. That's 100 Skitari. That's 10 boxes. Like, holy shit.
Hmm.
Yeah. You are, of course,
It
going
is
to
a horde army.
bring. Yes, it is a horde army. You are going to want to bring a Skitari Marshal and then your support HQ of choice, which is either going to be the Manipulus or the Dominus. Though I do tend to prefer the Manipulus as it supports the gun line better. And then you're gonna want three of Kino's most hated thing in the Codex, which is the Scorpius. But then after that, you have a choice between what you want to bring as your fast harassment unit. You can go for the sterilizers, you can go for the infiltrators, you can go for the chickens, you can go for the Cerberus. There's really a lot of choice. But one thing you probably shouldn't get if you're doing competitive is the crab. I'm sorry, boy.
No, 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 no. You're
One
wrong.
day it
You're wrong.
one
You're
day it
wrong.
will
I
be
am
good
correct.
again.
I am correct, and you're wrong.
One day it will be good again, but it is not this day.
It's still good. It's
It's still
better.
good, but it's suboptimal.
It's got better survivability than the tanks. Damn it!
It's
Why does
expensive.
nobody see this?
All right. So, as usual, we will be showing pictures of everybody's armies. So, we will be showing Boy's AdMech and Master Jeff's AdMech. I am sorry, Boy. We're presenting yours next to Master Jeff's like award-winning armies.
No, that's fine.
Okay. So, Boy's AdMech. This is your Dominus, I believe. Yes.
Yeah,
I love the top hat. He looks
yeah.
like
I
he looks
also,
like freaking Simon.
yeah, I also put a beak on him to make him look like a plague doctor.
Plague Doctor. Nice, nice.
Yes, very nice.
So these are, I believe, your Cancer Boys.
My
Yes.
yes, my Vanguard boys.
The Rad
All right.
Boys. They're
Yes.
rad.
They're red.
They're
So
rad.
and these are Rangers with a different color scheme. This is a Ranger. These are Vanguard,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I had the blue and red as an original until I wanted to swap over to the black.
I honestly like the black better. The blue and
Yeah,
red looks a bit too.
French.
I was going to say
Patriotic.
what's that blue and red faction in
Is it? Is
Ravnica?
it?
Is it? It
Oh,
looks a
is
bit too
it?
is it for me.
To be
Yes.
fair though, is it or I really like is it?
Yeah. Well, you know what? Admech are very is it.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
They
are.
are.
they are.
Okay. Boy, my one comment would be we have to help you with proper basing because the models themselves are nice, but
Mm-hmm.
like the basing makes them look incomplete. So, we're also trying to guilt trip another
No.
person here
Oh
No,
into
that's
boy.
basing these
fine.
models.
That's fine. Your basing is fine. It's tabletop
So,
ready.
You can either go like just monocolor black, or we can fix like the paint on these things.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, those are actually just primer. I didn't bother
yeah,
painting
indeed.
over it.
So, and I recommend for these things with actual basing material that you trim the base
Okay,
so that it
got it.
looks a bit striking.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, like this guy. This guy has really nice basing. I see you actually dry brushed it and everything, but
Mm-hmm.
this part is it would really look good in gold or something like that,
Oh yeah,
right?
actually.
Yeah, yeah. So according to Eric, you paint the edges and it'll be fine. But
Got
you
it.
But
know,
you
at
are
least you
you are
put
enough, boy.
effort.
You are enough.
At least you put effort into basing, unlike
Thank you.
You are enough,
some
boy.
people.
I believe that you are enough.
No, base your minis, guys. Come on.
Fine. What the flock? Fine. What the flock?
Yeah. So this is Master Jeff, and he does basis minis. So
Okay,
uh,
fine.
Master Jeff actually paints very well. He's been doing this for longer than Boy has been alive, for longer than I have been alive, for that matter. So he's gotten really good at this shit, and he has won multiple painting awards. And this is actually his Imperial Knight army, which are also Mechanicum aligned. He hasn't actually painted his Electro Priests yet, so we are also shaming Master Jeff into painting his three Scorpius Scorpius tanks, the Trigger Boy. Hopefully we'll see them in a Kesh
Mm,
Cup, like, and see how they face against boys
I swear to
onagers.
fucking god, I'm gonna beat their ass. Three up armor save, gone, gone, absolutely gone.
And then yeah, he actually did win like the best painted army in the 2018 GT. So you can see here.
Wild.
Yeah.
That is nice.
So these are his Imperial Knights. We've actually seen them a lot on the table. Um, and these are the Armigers, which are the baby knights. And that's about it. Now, we're going to be presenting today our calendar. So this is the calendar for October, and we have an amazing lineup for you guys. First of all, we rescheduled the big army primer for next Saturday, which is the 2nd of October. And
Yes,
then
sir.
our first faction focus for the month will be Orcs for October. So joining us for Orcs will be our
Wow.
good friend Dre, and our format will not be Dre explaining the expertise of the Orcs to us. And DJ might actually join us, so he's still checking if he can, but it will be more on what should Dre buy for Orcs. So it will be a temptation stream. Yeah. And on the 9th, we're going to have a guide to horror campaigns with Mr. Doctor. And I think we will also be having a special guest, which will be announced later. On the
Woohoo.
16th, we will be having the faction focus Orok War Clans with our friend who hates to read, Jonathan Lansang. Yes. He actually, if you notice, our faction focus is on a Saturday because he's not free on Fridays.
Special
So,
edition.
yeah, it's
It's
a
a very
special
special.
edition just for Jonathan.
Because we love him.
Oh,
Our resident weeb.
my throat's starting to give.
Yay. We
Hopefully,
want
he will spend the
John.
Friday reading. So on the 22nd, we will be having our faction focus demons in 40k. So
Woo,
that's gonna
demon.
be all four of the gods, and we're gonna be having Doctor Go representing Nurgle and Korn. We're gonna be having Tits representing Slanesh, and I will take Zinch for myself, or rather,
Yeah,
Kesh
we're gonna
will,
be
because
evil. We will be
I
evil.
Matthew am a Cornet, while Kesh is Zinchian. Then we will be exploring horror RPGs on the 23rd Saturday, and our final Friday faction focus will be the Soul Blight Grave Lords, tying in it tying it in for the
Ooh,
Halloween. No guest for this one.
scary.
This will be Kesh all day, every day. And the 30th will be our Halloween Tambay special, where we're just gonna tambay on the stream and talk to everybody. We can discuss. We will answer questions. We'll talk about Halloween experiences, recommendations for when everything opens up. And yeah, Michael, we will be opening up again on the 16th, so be sure to visit us. Um, should um, should health protocols allow,
Nice.
and yeah, that's it for our October calendar. So tomorrow we will be having a D&D How to Start special with Mr. Doctor and Mr. Tits. So please do catch that tomorrow. And don't forget to like and subscribe for all of our social media on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. The faster we get to 1,000 subs on YouTube, the sooner Teacher Mikey gets paid. So
And
like,
Vice Dominion.
yes. So if you love Teacher Mikey, please like and subscribe. Once again,
Body
we'd
to
like to thank
play, Age of
Boy
Sigmar.
for joining us
Thanks,
today.
boy.
Boy, thank you,
Thank you,
Boy.
Kino.
Thank you for
Yes.
I should
having
call
me.
you
Um,
Kino. I might
some
get used to calling you
people
boy.
in your and Kesh's FC on Final Fantasy have actually seen you now.
The critically
So
acclaimed
yes,
MMORPG Final Fantasy 14 with uh,
unlimited free trial up to
unlimited
level
free trial up to
trial up to
level
level
60.
60 without time restrictions. That now includes the
The a
award-winning
Realm
Award
of
Heaven
Void
Sword,
winning.
and the award-winning Heaven's Sword.
Heaven Sword expansion. Yes.
I'll never stop hearing that.
Yeah, it's okay, Michael. We know we know where you live, and it's all right if you don't visit
It's all
us.
right,
We
man. It's
know
all
where
right.
you live.
No,
You're
no,
with
he
us in
lives in
spirit.
like the far, far, far north. So
Yeah,
like, yeah,
with you
like
in
just
spirit.
continue supporting us in stream and like ordering. I Cash will have your Octarius box for you tomorrow. So we'll be able to ship that out this weekend and your compendium as well, Michael. So congratulazione.
Woohoo! My
Anyways,
kill team.
I must go early.
All
Thank you
right,
for having
boys,
me. This
bedtime.
was great fun. I will argue about onagers to you if you approach me.
Yes. Just remember to tell Boy that the Scorpius, everyone uses Scorpius
They are
nowadays.
not. They're wrong. I am right. Bye bye.
All right. Goodbye, everyone, and good night.